Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is OKST56 with Big Country Gaming, and I've got some really exciting news. I'm going to share with you guys a new tool that I've been developing for several months now. It's called the OKST56 Conference Realignment and Scheduling Generator tool, and the whole reason for doing this is just that to try to in hopes to try to give the user a more realistic experience for the 2024 seasons and beyond. Currently, the Big Ten is going to have 18 teams in it in 2024. The ACC is going to have 17 teams. The Big 12 is going to have 16, and the SEC is going to have 16. So there's just a lot up in the air with what's going to happen with conference realignment, and really the the DB editors allow us to edit the conferences up to 16 teams. And what I discovered is if you go beyond 16 teams, the only caveat to that is that you can't get the game in its current state with the source code to actually generate a full conference schedule. So, for example, if you did a 16-team Big Ten, USC and UCLA added to it, but then you wanted to add Oregon and Washington, then you would run into the issue that even if you added them to the conference manually using an editor, they they would actually not have a conference schedule generated for them. So trying to do that manually by hand is tedious. So I created some code that will hopefully help you guys with creating some cool things. Um, Currently, right now, I'll show you the tool here in just a minute, but uh, this is only going to be good for conferences that have teams of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 12-team conference, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20. I went with those numbers because those are the most likely things that will happen, especially with the ACC already being 17. Otherwise, I wouldn't have included that odd number. But for right now, with what we've got, that's what we're gonna roll with. So I have done some extensive work with the Euro mod, and I do think this should work without a hitch. I've not tried it with the Texas high school mod, but I have been in touch with Straight Cash Homie on that, and it seems like it probably should work as well. So this is definitely doable with the vanilla game, with the CFBR mod, anything like that. So keep that in mind. You may have some issues if you decide to try a mod that's not the vanilla game or CFBR. So just to get started, I started a new Dynasty. I went ahead and actually did realignment as much as I possibly could. That is the whole point. So Big 12, it's all 16 schools. The ACC has 16 schools, all but Stanford. I've placed Stanford in the independents. And then, of course, the Big Ten is the same way. It's all the schools except for what's left over in the Pac-12 currently with Oregon and Washington. So, anyway, I will show you guys how to make that a little bit more realistic in a minute. But once you've done this, this kind of sets your dynasty in stone. These schools are going to be in these conferences. You want, if let's say that you, for example, the Pac-12 or excuse me, the ACC, it's a 17 team. So I removed Stanford and I put them in independent, and I did that so that it wouldn't generate as part of the Pac-12, and scheduling would be more screwed up. It's always going to, in the off season, reset to this default setup. So it just becomes easier to remember that literally all I have to do is move Oregon and Washington and Stanford that are going to be independent, and it'll just go a lot smoother that way. So we'll go ahead and start this dynasty. Okay, so of course I'm going to be Oklahoma State for this, signed contract, and we're just going to exit out of this. So for the first season, you will do this. You'll get to this part, you'll save. You have that option for custom schedules, but we're going to go ahead and go utilize the tool at this point. Again, save this, create multiple saves of it just in case you screw it up. Once you complete a season, you're going to go through the entire off season except until you get to custom realignment. If you want to make any changes, make your changes as best you can utilizing the in-game editor. Get to the point where you maximize those 16 teams that you have, and then go utilize the tool. One other thing to keep in mind: if you have less than 12 teams in your conference, do not utilize the tool to increase over those 11 teams. If you have more than 12 teams, do not change it so much that you go less than 12 teams. And the reason for that is because it starts messing up some of the conference ratings and different things, and I haven't figured out a way around that yet. So we'll go ahead and save this, and I will actually show you guys the tool. So the first thing you do is you've got this tool right here. First thing you're going to need to do is come up here to File, make a copy. And I've got to show you guys this really quick. This is the realignment guide that I've included that shows how I run my dynasty. It's got exactly everything you need to do. It explains what we're doing with Stanford and all of that. So you'll want to make a copy of that as well. I'm not going to show you that. But now I've got my copy, so I'm just going to close this. So the intro page, you guys have to read through this. These are all the directions. It does look like a lot, but if you're willing to be, invested into your dynasty like this, that's what it requires. There's a few rules. You guys can read through those. I'm not going to explain all of it right now, but it's pretty self-explanatory, including what teams it actually creates schedules for and which ones it does not. It does not create schedules for conferences consisting of teams 11, 13, 15, 19, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So here's a troubleshooting tab. The first thing you want to do is come to the Home tab. If you want to utilize a realistic 17 team ACC schedule and you want the Notre Dame to schedule a partial ACC schedule, which is on average about 5 to 6 games, then select yes. If you're utilizing the CFBR thing and Notre Dame is an independent, then you're going to want to do that regardless. If you are utilizing the CFBR mod or the vanilla game, you're using those real FBS teams, then you're going to want to press yes. If you're just using the Euro mod or some other mod, then you're going to want to select no. So easy. Whoops. So easy enough if you wanted to do that. Obviously, I want to keep this yes. So here's your team import, schedule import, conference names import, and division names import. As you can see, Big 12 is Division A. I renamed all mine for East and West for the ones that now have new divisions. So let's get to the nitty gritty. We're going to go to the Madden DB editor. So I'm going to rename this. Madden DB editor, open up the Dynasty. And easy enough, you're going to export the team tab. Save that to a little easy to get to place, and then you're going to want to go to the schedule tab. And you're going to want to export that. So right click on it, export, save again. And now you're going to want to find the conference tab. Save. And now lastly, you're going to want to find the division tab. And as you can see, mine already has like East West because I renamed those divisions in the game. So we've got that saved. And first thing we're going to do is come up here to team import, upload, browse. And then we've got our folder right here. So we double click on team. It'll take a second. Replace current sheet, import data. And you'll see that load. Schedule import. This little blue thing is still calculating, so we'll wait for that. So it's done. So now we'll go to import, upload, browse. Replace current sheet. Conference. Import. Replace current sheet. And division. All right. So now with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to import the team names and create conferences by clicking on this big button called OKST56 Realignment and Schedule Tool menu. So click 1. It requires an authorization, so click OK. You're going to click your account, and then advanced, and then click right here, allow, and you'll need to push the button again. So now it's going to run it. You've got a notification here and here that shows you the status. You'll see the little blue bars are populating, and it's just trying to get all of the team names imported, all of the division and conference names imported. And so then once you're done with that, you can go to the conference realignment tab. And as you can see, it's got every conference listed. Currently right now, I've got this set up to where in the future we can possibly have this set up for 4 pods for each conference. This is not workable right now, so just stick to your 2 columns for each division. If you were to have a scenario like the ACC where you needed to add that 17th team, it's really simple. You go to Independence, where Stanford is at, click there, select delete or backspace, and it deletes them. And then you're going to come over here and start typing Stanford. It'll auto-populate, push down to highlight the name, and then select it. So now it is showing up orange simply because the division itself is not an even number compared to the other side. Red means that you have a duplicate of a team. So if I put Stanford in again, it's going to show 2 red Stanford. So I just like to use that as a check to make sure we don't have any duplicates. And then yellow is an FCS team, which are all of these. And you can see that it does that once you move them out of the generic tab. That is okay to do if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You guys can read through this stuff and kind of figure out what other people are doing, but currently that's what we're that's what we're dealing with. So we've got really for how you want to deal with the Big Ten. My suggestion is to probably place a team like Illinois and Northwestern into the Big Ten East. We'll just make it easy and we'll make it Illinois and Northwestern for right now. Or actually, I guess it would just be one team. And we're going to make this Oregon. And we're going to make this one Washington. And so really what I like to do is keep rivals like right next to each other. So I think what I'm going to do instead is put Oregon here and maybe Wisconsin up here. And now I'm going to go find Oregon because they're red. So I'm going to delete that and delete that. So you don't have to do what I just did, but that's what I like to do. And then since the Pac-12 and the Mountain West have a scenario in which they're going to schedule against each other, I'm just going to put Oregon State and Washington State in the Mountain West, and then I'll just change them back to the Pac-12 whenever we get to the DB editor. And so in order to do that, we still have to have one team. No, we don't. Okay, so we've done the ACC, we've done the Big Ten, the Big 12 is good, the American's good, Conference USA, it's no divisions, so that's why it's orange. The MAC is good, Mountain West is good now, SEC is good, and Sunbelt's good. So once we're done with that, we just come back up here and we're going to export teams to the team tab. And these do take a minute. That is finished. And so there's obviously all these other tabs down here, and I'll go over those at the end. But this is now your team export tab. If you were to go check the conference alignment for all of them, it would show you, the changes that we just made. So the next thing to do is to generate the conference schedules. And what I like to do is, this is kind of fun to watch. I go to this all team schedule reference 2. It is a blue tab. It's not meant to be edited at all. Do not edit this ever. But what's going to happen is I'm going to press generate the conference schedules. It's going to clear all the scheduling, and you can kind of watch this in real time. This allows you to do some troubleshooting as you need to. False and red means that there's no game scheduled. Green and true means that there is a game scheduled. And then at the end, you'll see the total tallies for all of that, and it should make sense. This will take a few minutes. Perfect. So now that's done, and this is all the conference games. As you can see, we've got all the number of games. The Big Ten has 10 games. So now we go to generate week 0 games. That just throws in some non-conference games for week 0. Intentionally, I made those a bit more random, and I think it just adds a little bit of fun. And so that's complete. And then now we're going to do out of conference rivalry games. So this is like, for example, Florida versus Florida State. That's going to try to schedule those kind of games. Army versus Navy in this last week of the year. But it all just depends on how you got your dynasty set up. It does take a few minutes. It has a lot of check marks that it has to run through. And so this one is probably the longest of all the scripts. While this is still running, I can show you guys some of this. So we obviously have the all-team schedule. I'm not going to mess with it, but I'll show you guys. This is each gold label is the first game. This will be completely filled once everything is complete, but you can see GATG is the away, GHTG is the home team. It's all by numbers right now. That is just for people that know what they're looking at. They can scroll through this pretty quickly. It's also a way for the schedule reference to keep track of stuff. You don't want to edit this because it does keep track of games. Schedule by conference is pretty simple. Oh, so right there you can see all the ACC teams pretty easily. So it did say we had an error. I'm not too sure what the error was, but I think we can roll with it. I think we'll be okay. So now we got to generate the Notre Dame schedule. Assuming Notre Dame is independent, then you're going to want to have a schedule similar to what they do normally, which is schedule about 5 to 6 games with the ACC. And so now that's done, so we can scroll down and find Notre Dame right there. And so they've already got 7 games scheduled, that typically means that that's how it worked out, was that they scheduled against the ACC. So then now, almost done, generate the non-conference schedule. So it's just going to fill anything that's not green here. It's going to start filling and trying to schedule games week by week. You have schedule by week here on this tab as well. So right now it's showing 0, week 0. You can change that and then visualize all of that. Team schedule is pretty self-explanatory. This will update as you go. Once you finish everything and run the last step, it'll show it in order. But that's, this is just a good way to compare schedules to different teams. And whoops, go back to this one. So as you can see, we've got all greens except for the FCS schools. So we've got, looks like we should be good. Excuse me. We did end up with, I try to minimize as much of these games as possible, but you guys can always change that. It looks like we ended up with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 FCS games, which is pretty minimal and what I prefer, honestly. So once you've done that, the last thing to do is just go to your schedule export tab. You'll see that there's all the teams and times and days and weeks, but there's none of this extra fluff. And you just need to push that last button there to get that to auto-populate everything. Once this is done, we are technically done with the tool. Okay, so it's done. All we need to do now, we're going to go back to the team and we're going to download comma separated values. And so that's saved. And then we're going to go to export, schedule export, download comma separated values, and that's saved. So now we're just going to minimize this. We're going to go back to our team tab. We're going to import that. Oh, I hit the wrong button. My bad. I did import the team tab, but it was the old team tab. So import, we need to go to downloads. And what we've got here is that team export that we just had. So we're going to import that one, and then just takes a second. And then we're going to find the schedule to here and import. Perfect. Okay, so now the last step, since I went ahead and changed the Pac-12 and I put Oregon State and whoever the other team was, Washington State, into the Mountain West, I'm going to remove them. But in case you can't remember what conference numbers and all CGID numbers are, you just come to the conference tab. Pac-12 is CGID 10. So all I got to do is go back to the team tab really quick. Find Oregon State. And then I'm just going to scroll over until I get to CGID. Double click. 10. Division ID. We'll need to change that as well. I will change it. In a minute. And then Washington State. There it is. We're going to go to CGID 10. I believe no divisions is 30, which is what Western Kentucky is. They're in the Conference USA. So we're going to want no divisions, which is what the Pac-12 is right now. So we're going to double check. Yep, Western Kentucky was 30, so Washington State. So now I'm just going to double check one more time. CGID 10. Perfect. And then we're going to go back up and find the beavers. Beavers. There they are. And we're going to make this 30, which is the division ID. And voila. We should be good. We can save it. Saved. Double check. There we go. Okay. All right. So now we just come in here, change this back. And we're going to minimize. And we're going to check our work. So typically Oklahoma State would be playing Mississippi State first game of the year. And as you can see, it's open. We're playing Stanford. We're playing Colorado, BYU. Tulsa's still on there. ECU for a non-conference game. So that's pretty fun, man. That's a nice mixed up schedule for a non-conference. You can easily check your work a little bit before you advance. If you go to Coach Info, and then what I like to do is head coaches only, so it shows the teams only. And then we'll go to Pac-12. So we've got both of those guys in there like we need. If you go to the Big 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 teams. So we'll back out of that. And we're going to go ahead and move forward with starting the season. Advance to the regular season. This will take a minute. We'll double check our work, make sure that we're not going to have any issues with advancing. While that still goes, I'll show you guys this really quick. So team schedule, it's now in order, so I can pull up anybody. Oklahoma State, or that was Oklahoma, but now it's in order. It shows who's playing who, schedule by week. If I just wanted to look at who's playing in week 11, I can look at that. The away team, home team. If I want to look at just all teams, again, we could do that as well. And then schedule by conference. If I want to look at the Conference USA, I can do that as well. So we're done with this. And there we go. Week 1, we've got a bye. We're going to go to ESPN, Conference Outlook. And there's the Big 12 East. There's the Big 12 West. ACC Atlantic's got 8. ACC Coastal's got 9 because they've got Stanford and Cal. Big 10, 9 teams. Big 10 West, 9 teams. SEC's got everybody it needs. The only independent's Notre Dame. Pac-12, I just want to show you this. We're going to look at their schedule really quick. As you can see, it's scheduled Fresno State, San Jose, North Carolina State's a random one, Air Force, Utah, Colorado State, Boise, Wyoming, just like they were playing an actual conference schedule against the Mountain West. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's how it works. It is fairly easy after you've done it a time or two, but it does take a little bit of practice to get used to. What you will do, this would take too long. I would be streaming another hour if I were to do this, but you're going to go and you're going to finish your entire season. You're going to go all the way to the off season, complete all of your off season stuff. At the very end of the off season, there's an option to sim to custom schedules, or excuse me, custom conferences. If you want to make any changes, make your changes. Then simulate to the preseason, which is just like where we started before week 1, where you have the option to do the custom schedule. If you have the option to do the custom schedule, that's when you run the tool. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you have any issues or questions, you can always ask in the Discord, and enjoy. I can't promise that I'll make a bunch of updates to this, especially with the new game coming out soon, but this will at least give a new, fresh look. So, I guess, thanks.